Hey you, I have a question. Are you a single, insecure gamer who is too afraid to ask your crush? Because I am that guy. I am that guy. And I believe I have a recording of myself going through such going through such an experience. And I feel like you guys would definitely like to see it. And I feel like the experience that I've been able to go through will definitely hopefully will help you guys you know approach your relationships differently because I certainly learned a lot from my experience. So there will be two videos coming up. There will be this one that's coming up in a bit and another one where I talk to another person. uh, and I'll provide more context in the second video. So yeah, I hope you like the video, and if you have any thoughts or feelings about this video, please share your comments down below. And yeah, all right, see you. Good evening, everyone. It is 11:09 p.m. and right now I want to talk about a topic that I mentioned that I was going to talk about in my last second, like 2 videos ago, which is I got rejected romantically. And of course, you see the smile and you think he's probably crying inside. But I have to say, I don't feel that sad. You know why? Because I didn't invest too emotionally in, this girl. And I decided, oh, I recently have been feeling some feelings for this person. And I decided, hey, just gonna talk to her about it, see what she thinks. And she was like, hey, you know, um, I think I'm good. I'm currently looking for friends, but hey, you're a really cool person, fun to be around, but like, it's fine. I'm looking for friends and not relationship. And that I needed. I needed that because now from my future interactions with her and, that the group of people that I hang out with, I'll keep that in mind. And, with that subconsciously there, I won't be like, questioning, oh, does she like me? Does she not? And like start growing feelings and all that. And I can start moving on and, you know, possibly find other people. So, that was like a very short summary. Honestly, I don't know what else to say, but the how I, got to this place is because you know, if you've heard my previous conversations, I don't remember which video, but over my internship, I've been, meeting church people like in my fellowship group, and they're really chill. Um, they're basically my only like social outlet, you could say, so far, and I really love the people there. I really enjoyed their company, and I realized that I started liking someone in there, in the group, and that's not. I mean, that's cool and all. And I would say because I've been watching so many Dr. K videos, I stumbled upon one of his videos about how to ask someone out. I'll like probably provide like a video about that. It's let me search for it. Healthy gamer, and it's called how to not get into the friend zone. I think how to not get friend zone. Healthy gamer GG. How to not get friend zone. And I'll let you know. Because this girl and I were like very chill, so she was very understanding. When I explained myself, like and it was very awkward in the sense it was awkward in the sense that I tried to get alone time with her while we were always with like a group. When I meet her, I'm with a group. So she found it very confusing why I wanted to have like a just a one-on-one talk on her with her. But yeah, but if you're here just to hear that little news, that's about it. But I'll probably look I'm gonna look at this video right now and just go back into the section where he says, what to do, and then I'll describe what exactly happened again, just so I can run my memory through it. So let me change my screen here. All right. So it's this video right here.
This is sort of a situation
So
of like, imagine like is affecting the two people in very different ways.
so I mean, I won't go through the entire video. I won't go through the entire video as to like why um to what he's talking about in like in the entire video. It's a whole 25-minute video, but if you're, I feel like if you're, feel like you're afraid of being friend zoned or like, anything like that, and you want to be very transparent with them. And I would say you want to not like completely cut ties with them because you appreciate them as a friend completely. Um, this is, I would say, where his technique really shines. And I very much appreciate his advice, and I literally did it. Guess what? It worked. It worked. Okay. So let me go to the section where he says what to do. But literally, I would say, uh, in the beginning half of the video, he basically talks about how people, how do you even get in the friend zone in the first place? And the first way that you get into the friend zone is that one, um, like I mean, you have a friend and you start liking them, right? And sometimes you play games in your mind like, oh, does she like me? Does she not? But you're not sure, right? And sometimes, you lose confidence, but you never get that solid answer or conversation with her as to like what she thinks about you truly, right? And so, right, the more you interact with her, the more you're going to sort of like grow these feelings for her, right? And his and his point is that when your feelings start growing and growing and growing and you keep it dormant inside, which is something that I do all the time, is that eventually this will you'll reach a tipping point where you'll just come out, and then you feel like, okay, I'm gonna go for all in or nothing, and then you just confess, and then she's like, whoa, I wasn't ready for this, right? And she will be very uh you know caught off guard basically, and it's less of a conversation, and you're kind of dumping everything on her, which is something that they wouldn't expect, right? And how he's describing how to deal with the situation is to make, instead of you're dumping it on them, you're trying to you know present it in a lot more like conversational way, and like in a more understandable way, like so they can empathize where you're coming from, right? But let's watch the video where specifically where he talks about that.
The other problem that we tend to run into is as we get romantically involved with people, we increase our exposure to them. And we know that like reciprocity, okay? So now the question becomes, okay, so what should you do about it?
What should you do?
And this is where I want to come back to where most people's story starts, which is I've caught feelings for this person, now what do I do? And that's the kind of thing where oftentimes when we see people like talk about it, when they reach help, it's not when they first catch feelings. It's when the feelings have grown so much that it kind of becomes overwhelming.
Right. And he's mentioning this because his solution will involve you not getting to that point, and once you realize that, you should deal with it as soon as possible so it doesn't get out of control.
This is sort of a situation of like, imagine like weeds in your garden. If you leave those weeds untended in your garden and they grow and they sprout, what are they going to do? They're going to start to choke out all the plant life that you want. They'll be so big and their roots will be so deep that it takes so much effort just to like tear them out. So oddly enough, what we actually want to help y'all do is avoid catching feelings in the first place, or the second that you find that you catch feelings, that you alter your behavior to prevent this situation from happening.
Right.
So this is where the first thing that we need to do is be emotionally aware. right? So this is why a lot of the stuff that we do at HG, like our community event right in the fields, or what we try to do in like group coaching or personal coaching, is we help raise people's EQ or emotional quotient. We help people like understand their feelings more and be aware of their feelings more.
Luckily, I think I have enough EQ to realize I like someone. There are probably some people, where um but like they might like someone but they're unsure or like right, uncertain. But for me, I think you know, I saw a few signs from myself as a few things that I would do. Okay, not disgusting things, okay? All right. I just like okay, I find myself thinking about her, for example, outside of work, right? Like during work or something like that, or outside of our meetings. And then, every time you go meet the people that you're part of, and then you always look forward to seeing them specifically. I found out like I was, uh having these thoughts and feelings, and I was like, okay, this is definitely something, right? So luckily, I had the EQ to identify. Okay, I like this girl. Now what do I do?
And most importantly, we
Recognition
help
first.
them, once they're aware of their feelings, not let their feelings control their actions.
Okay.
So, what you need to do is the moment you start to have romantic feelings for someone in your life, the natural idea is to hide these, right? Because, oh, this person is just my friend.
And that's what I did for most of my life, right? Like I like someone, I'm gonna hit it, and I'm very afraid to make moves and stuff like that. So I would just hang out with them, don't say anything, just treat them like normal, and that's it, right? I mean, that's completely fine, right? For people who hear that, right? But to you, what happens to you when you do that is that as you keep, oh, from personal experience, I tend to, grow feelings until I feel like, okay, I'm gonna, even a shy person like me will then start making a move and, like basically let my feelings control my actions is what you would because right my feelings start growing after I contain them for quite a while. So his idea is to address it as soon as possible, but how do we address it?
And if I tell them, like, they're going to reject me, and we're just friends, and girls don't like to be girlfriends, and so I can't say anything. And this is where actually you can say something. And what you can say can be really, really impactful, helpful, and actually maintain the friendship. So the moment you notice that you're catching feelings for someone, what you should talk to them about it. And this is what you can say. Hey, so I know we've been friends for a little while, but I'm starting to notice like some kind of romantic feelings. What do you think about that? Right? So have a conversation with your friend.
And that's actually what I did. That's exactly what I did. All right. So what I did was, all right, people, and I decided, hey, I'm gonna go downstairs and get some stuff. But I asked her if she could come along, and she did. Because I told her beforehand that I wanted to talk to her one on one. So I had to initiate this process. And she, like, once I asked her if she could come along, she knew, like, what I was indicating. Like, okay, it was going to be this conversation that he was hinting at, but unsure, like, what I was ever going to talk about. And I'm pretty sure she never saw it coming. I mean, maybe a little hint, but like she definitely didn't really expect it, right? And I just went up and said, hey, we're both relatively new. I mean, like we've known each other for a bit. Talked about like okay how I've met and stuff like that, and we're friends. And I appreciate everyone that we know in the group that we're in. And I said, you know, but lately, every time I've been going and meeting up with these people, I I've been realizing that I've been getting feelings, is what I said. And then she was like, for me? I said, yes. Oh man. I said, yep. And I said, oh okay, don't get me wrong though. I'm not trying to ask you out and meet like right now immediately. I just wanted to hear your thoughts about that. Right? That's how I put it. So basically that's what happened and let's just watch see what happens. What does he explain will happen from this process, right? Let's go back here, right?
I know it sounds terrifying, but approach them kind of as a friend. Like, hey, like we have a relationship, right? Like, hey, I have this pile of feelings and like, what do you think we should do about these
Right.
feelings? Should I
Mhm.
suppress them? Should I let them go? Could you possibly feel the same way? Have you ever felt that way about me? And just have a frank conversation about it. You can actually give them the space to say, oh, like this is what could happen, right? Maybe they'll say, yeah, sometimes I've had those feelings too. I've actually seen that happen, and then people will talk about, okay, how can we try this relationship or not? Can it work? Can it not work? You can have a really mature conversation, and I know it sounds kind of bizarre, but the earlier on you do it, the more likely you are to actually successfully transition the relationship. Because once
Okay.
people
So he's saying, I mean, according to his expertise. Wait, let me keep playing it. Actually,
have a solidified idea of what the relationship is, and that can be divergent, right? So once you've let your love for this person grow out of control, then it's really hard to just be friends. And similarly for the other person, once they've let that friendship really solidify, it becomes even harder for them to become romantic. So what I tend to see in
right. So his argument is basically, the earlier you address your feelings, the actually it's more likely you will transition that relationship from wherever you were before, like just friends, to actually being like in a romantic relationship. It's because if they saw you as a friend, right, as you spend more time with them, they're going to, the more time you spend with each other, the more reinforced their idea of your relationship will be, right? So they think you're friends, and then you keep coming, and then spending time with them, the more they think you're friends. But like, of course, there are other times when they're also kind of interested, and so the more time you spend with them, the more they like you. Of course, there are those situations, but when it comes to a friend zone and they don't see you that way, it will be less likely to happen if you were to wait a long time. So I'm happy I did this because I mean I felt like I was at least able to. I mean, we didn't get talked too much. I would say, like once she said she wasn't very interested in a relationship. I could read into however whatever she meant by that, right? It could be like, okay, like, oh, I'm maybe she just said that to be nice, right? Just to say like, okay, this guy is kind of ugly. Like I wouldn't date this guy, right? That's pretty mean, or all that. But it doesn't matter, right? It to me, like when I heard it, it was like, okay, she's just not interested. Okay, cool. And what I did was I just thanked her for being very transparent for me with me, and I explained why I was trying to let her understand why I was doing this. Um, yeah, and I feel like now I can sort of go about my time with her and the group of people that we're with and feel less guilty that I have growing feelings. Then, she knows the situation. I know, like, she knows I had these things. And so, I will just, just chill out, I won't look, hopefully, like, the idea that I know that she's not interested, right? Would let me to be more open to other options. So yeah,
relationships that transition from friendship, most people will happen in the first 6 months time. So the earlier you have this conversation, actually, the more likely it is to like succeed in terms of switching it over to romance. The second thing that this allows you to do is let's say that they reject you and they say they're not really rejecting you per se, and that's a whole other conversation. They're saying, hey, I'm not interested in this relationship. So this is a really, really key fork in the road because at this point, what you absolutely need to do is say, okay, fine, thank you for letting me know. I think I need to take a step back from some of our interactions while I sort through these feelings. And so this is where someone may say, "Oh my God, does this mean you're abandoning me as my friend? Am I losing my friend?" No, you're not. They're not losing you as a friend. Honest to God, they're not. You just need some time away from them to sort through your feelings, and then you can let them know, like, "Hey, this friendship matters to me a lot. I need to like sort of take care of some of these romantic feelings kind of on my own. And once I've done that, I'm happy to re engage. Okay. I need some time as your friend. Now, this is a really, really important step. Why? Because of everything that we've talked about in terms of the science. So once you step out of the relationship at month 2, you kind of like take a step back. Those romantic feelings will actually wilt over time. Because remember that increased exposure intensifies romantic feelings. The second thing that's going to happen is as you take a step back from them, that emotional vulnerability and that emotional activation will also decrease. And that emotional activation is what leads to these feelings of romantic love. The third thing that'll happen, and this is really, really, really important, is that you will create the space in your own heart, mind, biology, gonads, wherever. We don't know where it works, but we sort of know this scientifically. You will create the space to form romantic attachments with other people.
Right. Okay, for me, I suppose uh I didn't really do this. It's unfortunately, which is, I mean, a bit worrying because I mean, I kind of realized it as I was verbalizing that I didn't mention that, hey, I need to step away a bit. But to be honest, I mean, hopefully, I really hope that I mean, because I will still be spending time with the group of people that we are both involved in. Um, but stepping away from her also kind of means like stepping away from the group in general ish. Um, in a way, a bit. Um, yeah. But I think I will try to emotionally distance myself a bit more from her, just to make sure that my feelings don't grow anymore. Um, yeah, but it's kind of tough that I didn't say this or something like that. But like, yeah, like he mentioned that okay, increased exposure would lead to you to like them more, right? And I'm still gonna be seeing her like every week, like what every week or so, and that exposure would possibly, right, or you could say most definitely increase those feelings. But I would also argue that once for me though, like it's a lot easier to give up because I think I feel secure enough in myself to like make space and give up um these kind of feelings a bit once they've told me that they're not interested. I think for one, it's a very novel feeling that someone just tells you, that they're not interested. I'm not used to getting rejected too many times, and so, you know, hopefully, I'm just hoping that that would be enough for me to distance myself. Hopefully, make space to move on and consider other people. So yeah, that's about it, right? I don't know if he talks about uh anything else, but
And this is what's really important.
it's like
Once you create
I
that
charge
space and
from
you don't intensify the love with your friend, you can actually like fall in love with someone else. And once you fall in love with that person, hopefully you can sort of like try this whole thing again. Then you can actually go back to your friend and you can resume the friendship without catching feelings for them.
I
So I know it
increase the
sounds kind of
speed.
bizarre, but this is like actually works. There's actually a lot of science behind this stuff. And the problem that a lot of people have with the friend zone is they don't understand it's not just about falling in love initially. It's about the way that as you engage with this person, what happens to your sensation of love? It intensifies, it builds up, builds up, builds up, and then we confess. No one who's in the friend zone has a casual conversation about being in love, right? It's always a confession because those feelings have grown so much that they become overwhelming. I can't resist them anymore. And now I must confess my love. And then this other person is like blindsided by it. And then they reject you. And then you feel really hurt. And you've invested 6 months. And then you're damaged. And your thoughts are disorganized. And your sense of self is disturbed. Your self-esteem is in the pits. And then you spend 6 months recovering from that. And by the way, there's someone else on around month 4 or month 5 that starts to listen to your problems, right? They're like, oh my God, yeah, we're such good friends. And you confess to them how much this girl hurt you. And then they listen to you and you all cry together. And what does that do? What did we learn from the high altitude rickety bridge? Now you start to form romantic attachments with this person. But this person is your friend. And then you're like, okay, no. I'm not going to tell them they're just my friend. And you spend more time with them. You increase exposure. Y'all get closer and closer emotionally. But you can't say anything. And then the cycle repeats itself. So it sounds super bizarre. But I think the solution to the friend zone is not to get out of the friend zone, it's to never get into it. And this is where you may say, but Dr. K, you can't control who you fall in love with. This is what's bizarre. Actually, you can. And I want y'all to think about that for a second. We know so much about neuroscience. We know so much about psychology. We know about where trauma comes from. We know where narcissism comes from. We know where low self-esteem comes from. Hell, we even know the mechanism through which psychedelics create ego death and a connection to all other human beings. We know things about behavioral economics. We know things about how to predict like what the market is going to do. We know how to get people to buy Oreos. We know so many things about neuroscience and psychology. There's just one area where neuroscience and psychology falls apart, which is love. It's too mysterious, right? We can't understand it. We can understand everything else about human beings, but we can't understand love. That's absolute BS. We actually understand love really well, and you can actually shape who you fall in love with. Now, that initial attraction you may not be able to shape, but if you really want to avoid this whole friend zone cycle, you have to start by, first of all, being emotionally aware of yourself. And the moment you have romantic feelings, you should recognize those. Second thing you've got to do is have a conversation right then and there. And that can be incredibly challenging because, oh my God, I'm afraid of rejection. It's not a rejection, right? You're not asking them out. And this is a key part of it. You are trying to solve a problem with your friend. You're saying, hey, I have this pile of feelings. It's just feelings. Feelings will come and feelings will go. If you've been in the cycle of the friend zone 3 or 4 times, what happened to the first person that friend zoned you? Are you still pining over them? No, those feelings go away. Then you fall in love with someone else and then you repeat the cycle. So feelings can come and go and that's okay. The key thing to understand to avoid this whole situation is awareness of the feelings, have a conversation about it early, and for you to understand what are the scientific factors that can make this stuff get out of control. And once you start controlling for those factors, you won't invest into the wrong relationship, and in fact, you will open yourself up to additional relationships that can get off on the right foot.
All right. So, I mean, I'll reflect on this a bit more, but that's about it. But all right, that's basically my video that I was sort of preparing because that video where I was talking about, okay, I'm cooking something is I knew I was going to be having this conversation with him today. And I was going to just come back and talk about how it ended up. And unfortunately, she wasn't that interested. But I definitely need to consider, how I'm gonna try to not, have continue grow feelings for it, which I feel like I won't. But if I continue to expose myself to her, it is definitely possible. But hopefully, I hammer it in my head if that happens that she already said she's not interested, so move on, right? But at the end of the day, I'm glad I was able to have a conversation with her. So I think we've met a mutual understanding, and we're chilling. But all right, have a good night, everyone. Hope you have a good day, good night. It's good night for me, and I'll see you soon tomorrow, hopefully. Bye.